The single greatest wine value in Piedmont, you're looking at it. You're looking at it, staring right at it. And it's not me. I'm not Piemontese. I'm Irish and German. Nope, it's the wine. This delicious bottle of Italian Vino Rosso, which I know some of you old heads out there, bless your hearts. Some of you cats, some of my age and or older, gray hair and up. Some of you guys look at the label Vino Rosso. Oh, that's a cheap wine. When I was in Italy in the 70s, we'd go to this diner and the place down the street and they'd have a Vino Rosso in a carafe and boy, it was $1. It was cheap. Oh, so good. And no. Vino Rosso, let's get one thing straight. Vino Rosso in Italian means red wine. It does not mean cheap red wine. There'd be another Italian word there. Vino Rosso cheapo. Nope, just red wine. That's what this is. But this isn't just any red wine. This is a red wine from one of the greatest producers in Piedmont, the great Paolo Scavino, which is basically run by the Scavino daughters, and they're fantastic. And they've been making great wine for decades. The Scavino winery was one of the first to come up with the whole Barolo Boys thing with Marco de Grazia back in the 80s. Kind of reshifted the paradigm of what Piemontese wine could be, particularly in Barolo and Barbaresco, and focused attention on what can you do different, what can you change, what can you alter, let's think ahead. They were a group of producers that made the area take notice. It was an area resting on its laurels, very comfortable producing a particular type of wine that wasn't even of necessarily the highest quality at that point in time, save for a few exceptional producers. And Scavino and his gang, including Clerico and Altare and these guys, all got together and said, let's rethink this. And they did crazy stuff, 100% new oak, roto fermenters, different vineyard work. I mean, there was a lot of new things being done just to see if Nebbiolo would take to it. And it kind of did. It did. But what it did do is it made everybody think and reassess how they make wine using traditional techniques as well as using modern techniques. And then all of a sudden, after 20 years of the Barolo Boys doing their thing, a lot of Piedmont, especially the next generation, was like, what if we do a little bit of each? We're going to make traditional great wines, but with an eye towards modern styles of winemaking to make the best wines we ever made in Piedmont. And that's what Scavino's doing right now. They're based in Barolo. They're based in the village of Castiglione Folletto, but they own Barolo vineyards throughout Barolo in multiple areas. They are one of the greatest producers of Barolo. Their 2021 vintage is probably one of the finest range of wines produced anywhere in Barolo in 21. And 23 is looking great again for that area. So in front of me, I have the Paolo Scavino Vino Rosso L 2023A. L 2023A. Because it's not allowed to technically have a vintage on it because they're putting Merlot in there. So basically, this is the young vines from the property. The Scavinos pull together all the newer plantings, whether it's Nebbiolo, Barbera, Dolcetto, or in this case, Merlot. And actually, there's some mature vine Merlot in this as well. And then they combine it all in stainless steel and make a kick-ass red wine. The blend this year, 40 Nebbiolo, 20 Dolcetto, 20 Barbera, 20 Merlot, all done in stainless steel, all from their estate grapes, all aged in stainless steel. Let's not overthink this. So it's, kind of like if, Roumier and Burgundy, just made a Vin de France. Like he took some of his Bourgogne Rouge and maybe had some kick-ass Gamay somewhere, and then he just made this wonderful wine that, his Musigny sells for $9,000 a bottle, but you could buy just a really kick-ass red wine from Roumier for like 20 bucks. Think of that parallel. And that's kind of what we have here with the Scavino Vino Rosso. We have guys at the top of the game, 100-point winemakers at the top of their game, making a $14 bottle of wine for us to enjoy on a daily basis. Still freaks me out, still astounds me. Every time I taste this wine, we buy it almost every year. And then we talk about the great ones. And every year I buy, it's like, and how much is the wine this year? Oh, you can sell for 14 bucks. Every year I chuckle. It's been like a decade. Just can't get over it. And the wine is just brimming with Piemontese character. That's the thing. The blend works. There's the strawberry from the Nebbiolo. You have a little austerity, a touch of mint from the Nebbiolo. But you also have a little riper, deeper fruit component from the Barbera. The Barbera comes into play in this wine beautifully here. Gives the wine a little more color. The Dolcetto provides this kind of like high tone, nut character and minerality. This is incredible. And the thing is, it's made to be intensely drinkable. You're not supposed to sleep on this wine. You're not supposed to age this wine. This is a wine that is built for the here and now on purpose. But it is a brilliant here and now wine. And that's the point. They're not trying to make Barolo Brick del Fiasco here. That's not the point. This is joy. This is love. This is pleasure in a Piemontese style from one of the greatest producers for basically no money. I mean, at 14 bucks, how they work in their vineyards, this wine's like free. It really is. Always flabbergasted by the quality here. I mean, it shouldn't be. They're one of the best red wine makers on the planet. But yeah, this still freaks me out. 14 bucks. So there it is. Scavino, Vino Rosso, not Vino Rosso cheapo. Well, maybe in price, but not in quality. Vintage 2023, amazing vintage again, Piedmont. Wonderful, wonderful wine. Kudos to the Scavinos. They did it again. The world needs more wines like this. We need to talk more about these types of wines than talking about like $700 wines that you can't get. And critics take note. This is the war that's fought in the trenches, baby. Talk about this.